This is how the law actually reads now, that's actually published on the Alabama legislature. I'm going to put the links to both of these links down below just so you'll have them. Hey, in this video, we're going to talk about the new Alabama no-wake law that has come up recently because of accidents that have happened on the water and videos that have been put out. And I wanted to clarify the law as it was written, as it was proposed, and as it was actually finalized. If this is your first time here, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and leave me a comment down below, and we're going to dig into the entire no-wake law for Alabama. I've got it pulled up on my computer screen, and I'm going to read some of it. Things were made very confusing. It seemed like nobody knew what was going on. Alabama actually already had a wake restriction on Smith Lake and Lake Wedowee. Under existing law, wakeboarding, wake surfing are regulated and prohibited under certain conditions, including within 200 feet of any shoreline, dock, pier, boathouse, or other structure on Lewis Smith Lake and Lake Wedowee, and on Shoal Creek north of Highway 72. House Bill 209 wanted to add Lake Martin to this. And this bill would also prohibit the operation of any motorboat above idle speed within 100 feet from any shoreline, dock, pier, boathouse, or other structure of the same impounded water of the state, including Lake Martin, subject to the same penalties. So that was how the House bill was originally introduced. It was introduced to add Lake Martin and reduce it down to 100 feet. Now we're going to flip over to the Code of Alabama where we find out how it was actually written. Somewhere in the process, Weiss Lake was added. And I'm going to read something pretty interesting that most of you probably didn't know about. And it could actually affect some of the boating going forward. This is how the law actually reads now, that's actually published on the Alabama legislature. I'm going to put the links to both of these links down below just so you'll have them. This is the law as it was written and put into law. And I had to find this on the Alabama legislature webpage. Section 33-5-26.1, wake restrictions in certain waters of the state. This section shall apply only to the waters of the state impounded by Lewis Smith Dam, to the waters of the state impounded by R.L. Harris Dam, which is Lake Wedowee, or R.L. Harris Reservoir, the waters of the state impounded by Martin Dam, Lake Martin, and to the waters of the state impounded by Weiss Dam, Weiss Lake, and the Shoal Creek in Lauderdale County north of Highway 72. Now, it's important to note here that Weiss was snuck in. During the process of creating laws, there's steps that have to go, and it goes in front of different people, and things are added and taken away, and their negotiations are made. It's important to understand those negotiations, including adding Weiss to this bill. Then it goes into some definitions for wakeboat, wakeboarding, wake surfing. I'm not going to read that. There's some rules for wakeboarding that I think a lot of people did not know. It's important to understand they define motorboat as well, which is, I will read that one. A motorboat is a motorized recreational vessel. So anything basically that's got a motor is a recreational vehicle. So subsection D is where we get into our law. On the waters of the state impounded by Lewis Smith Dam, Lewis Smith Lake, on the waters of the state impounded by R.L. Harris Dam, Lake Wedowee, or R.L. Harris Reservoir, on the waters of the state impounded by Martin Dam, Lake Martin, on the waters of the state impounded by Weiss Dam, Weiss Lake, or on the Shoal Creek in Lauderdale County north of Highway 72, an individual may not operate a motorboat above idle speed within 100 feet from any shoreline, dock, pier, boathouse, or other structure on the impounded waters. Next section down, E, on the first violation of this section, an individual shall be guilty of a violation punishable by a fine not less than $100. 2, on the second or subsequent violation, individual shall be guilty of a violation and shall not be fined less than $200. In addition, this is second violation or more. In addition, the discretion of the court, the individual shall be subject to the revocation or suspension of his or her boater safety certification or vessel operator's certification or vessel operating privileges upon the waters of the state for the duration of the calendar year. You get caught blowing a no-wake zone or going within 100 foot of shore or dock, pier, whatever, they could actually take your boater safety, whatever. I know that may not mean a lot to folks. Your license, your boater safety certification, but mainly they take your privileges away. This is the one key point in this bill that I wanted to point out. I don't think people realize. There's actually two things. Nothing in this section shall apply to any regatta, race, trial run, parade, tournament, or exhibition for which a written marine event application has been submitted to and approved by the Marine Patrol Division of the Alabama State Law Enforcement Agency. Basically, if you apply for an event permit and it's approved by Alabama Marine Patrol, technically you wouldn't fall under these rules. Another key important thing that I wanted to talk about in here, notwithstanding the other provision of this section, for 1 year following October 1st, 2024, an individual who violates subsection D, which is our no-wake law, the new no-wake law as written, on a first violation shall receive a written warning of the violation, and on a second or subsequent violation during the calendar year, the violation shall be treated as a first violation under subsection E. So for this first year, it's written warnings only, first time. Second time will be a ticket, But second and more, it reads, second and more will be treated as a first violation. So the most you can get is a $100 fine each occurrence from October 1st, 2024 to October 1st, 2025. After that, the gloves are off and they could write for more. Thanks for watching. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Share this out to all your friends that are in Alabama, that are fishing in Alabama.